Let's be honest with each other. You've killed a lavender plant. Maybe more than one. You spotted that perfect little silver green bush at the nursery, and you pictured a whole row of it lining your path, humming with bees, smelling like a summer in the south of France. You brought it home, you cared for it, you gave it attention, and about 6 weeks later you were staring at a crispy gray skeleton, wondering what on earth you did wrong. Here's the part nobody at the garden center will ever tell you. Your lavender didn't die because you neglected it. It died because you looked after it exactly the way you were told to. And almost every piece of that advice is backwards. The way you watered it is backwards. The soil you planted it in is backwards. And the way most people prune it, that's the single fastest way to kill it there is. So over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to give you 5 secrets that turn everything you think you know about lavender completely upside down. These aren't the tired little tips printed on the back of a plant tag. They come from the only place that actually matters, which is how lavender really lives in the wild, clinging to dry, rocky Mediterranean slopes where nothing waters it, nothing feeds it, and nothing fusses over it through a cold night. By the time we're done, you'll understand exactly why your lavender keeps giving up on you, and exactly how to grow it so tough and so content that you could practically ignore it for a month and come back to more flowers than ever. And keep your ears open around secret number 3, because that one change rescues more dying lavender than the other 4 put together, and hardly anyone gets it right. Number 1, stop babying it and start treating it like a weed. This is the mindset shift that everything else depends on, so let it sink in. Lavender is not a delicate, fussy little ornamental that needs your protection. Underneath that pretty perfume and those soft gray leaves, it is a stubborn Mediterranean weed. Out where it comes from, it grows straight out of cracks and sun-baked limestone. It gets roasted all day, battered by wind, and goes weeks, sometimes months, without a single drop of rain. Those postcard-perfect fields in France aren't being pampered. They are being ignored on an enormous scale, and they thrive on it. So when you bring one home and start fussing over it, watering it every few days, feeding it, tucking it into rich, soft soil, you are not helping it. You are smothering a desert survivor in luxury, and luxury kills lavender far faster than drought ever will. Here's what to do instead. Walk around your garden and find the worst spot you've got, the hottest, driest, sunniest corner. That patch of thin, miserable soil where nothing else wants to grow. That sad little baked dead zone is lavender heaven. Have you got a slope? Even better. A south-facing slope with poor, stony soil is the closest thing you can offer to a Mediterranean hillside. Save your good, rich soil for your tomatoes. Lavender wants the leftovers, and it will reward you for them. Number 2. Build it a hillside, not a flower bed. Now let's talk about soil, because this is where it goes wrong before the plant is even in the ground. You've heard the phrase well-drained soil 100 times, and you've probably glanced at your garden bed and thought, yeah, mine counts. It almost certainly doesn't. For lavender, well-drained means something far more extreme than the picture in your head. So here's what to actually do. Dig your planting hole about twice as wide as the root ball, but no deeper than it. Take the soil you pulled out and throw at least half of it away. In its place, mix in something gritty. Coarse sand, fine gravel, even crushed stone if you can get hold of it. And I don't mean the soft play sand from the hardware store, I mean builder's sand or horticultural grit, the sharp, chunky stuff that water races straight through. Blend that thoroughly with whatever native soil is left, and you've just rebuilt a rocky Mediterranean hillside right there in your backyard. Then comes the step almost everyone skips. Don't plant it flat. Build a small mound and set your lavender on top of it, an inch or 2 or 3 above the ground around it. That way water runs away from the base of the plant instead of collecting around it. Because here's the hard truth about lavender. It almost never dies of thirst. It dies because it's sitting in water it can't escape, and its roots want air far more than they want a drink. That little mound is the difference between a plant that lives happily for 15 years and one that quietly rots out in its very first damp winter. And one last thing on soil. If you've been working compost or manure into the bed because somebody told you plants love it, stop right now. Rich soil makes lavender grow soft, floppy and leggy, with fewer flowers and a weaker scent, because the oils that give it that famous fragrance only turn strong when the plant is a little bit stressed. A pampered lavender is a boring lavender. Keep it lean, keep it a little hungry, and it will pay you back in flowers. Number 3. This is the big one, so if you take nothing else away from this video, take this. It's the single change that will do more for your success than anything else on this entire list. Are you ready? Stop watering your lavender. Almost completely. I know exactly how that sounds. Every gardening instinct you've got is screaming that a plant needs water, especially in the heat, especially when it's looking a little limp and tired. But that tired, droopy look on a lavender is almost never thirst. It is usually the exact opposite. The wilting, the yellowing leaves down at the bottom, that dull grayish sadness that makes you reach for the hose. 9 times out of 10, that is a plant that has had too much water, not too little. So here's the rule that actually works. For the first 2 or 3 weeks after planting, yes, water it deeply about once a week so the roots can settle in. After that, you only water when it hasn't rained for 2 or 3 weeks and the soil 2 inches down is completely dry. Push your finger in and check. If you feel even a hint of moisture down there, walk away. And when you do water, soak the whole area well, then leave it completely alone until it's bone dry again before you even think about the next one. In winter, you don't water at all. Not once. Not even through a dry spell. Cold soil plus wet roots is the #1 killer of established lavender, and gardeners lose far more plants to one kind, well-meaning winter drink than to every pest and disease combined. Your lavender is sleeping. Let it sleep dry, and if yours is growing in a pot, the rules get even tighter. Use terracotta, never plastic, never glazed ceramic, because terracotta actually breathes and pulls the extra moisture out of the soil. If your pot only has 1 drainage hole, drill a few more. Tip it slightly so water can't sit underneath it, and honestly, just throw the saucer away altogether. Number 4. Prune it the way nobody ever taught you. If you've ever cut back your lavender and then watched it slowly turn into a woody, hollow, dead-looking ring with a few green tufts clinging to the outside, put your hand up. It happens to nearly everyone, and it's because pruning lavender goes against every instinct you have. You have to cut harder than feels comfortable, but you also have to know precisely where to stop, because one wrong cut into the wrong part of the plant, and it is gone for good. So here's the method. Lavender needs pruning twice a year, and the timing matters enormously. The first cut comes in early spring, just as you see fresh green growth pushing up out of the gray stems. Take your sharpest, cleanest pruners and shape the whole plant into a tight little dome, taking off about 1/3 of that green growth. Not a nervous little trim, a real confident cut. You're sculpting a neat mound. The second cut comes right after it finishes flowering, usually late summer or very early autumn. This time you go a bit harder, taking off the spent flower stalks plus another inch or 2 of green growth below them, shaping it back into that dome again. But here is the rule that saves the plant. Never, ever cut down into the bare, brown, woody stems at the base. Lavender wood does not grow back. Unlike a rose or many other shrubs, once you cut into that old wood, the branch is dead forever, and a plant that's been hacked back into the wood will never recover. Always leave at least an inch of green above the wood. You're tidying up the leafy top, never carving into the trunk. Do this faithfully from the very first year, even when the plant is tiny and it feels almost cruel to cut it back, and your lavender will stay compact, bushy, and covered in flowers for 10 or 15 years. Skip a single cycle, and it starts splitting open in the middle, going hollow and woody, and within 2 or 3 seasons, it'll be beyond saving. The plant that supposedly never dies is really just the plant that gets pruned correctly on time every single year. Number 5, plant the right variety for the climate you actually live in. This is the last secret, and in a way it's the one that decides whether the other 4 even get the chance to matter. Most of the lavender that dies in home gardens was doomed from the moment it was bought because it was the wrong type for that climate. The soft, dreamy lavender that thrives in cool, damp Britain is a completely different animal from the one that can shrug off a sticky southern summer or survive a brutal northern northern winter. There are roughly 3 families you need to know about. First, English lavender, the angustifolia types, with names like Munstead and Hidcote. These are the toughest in the cold and the best for fragrance and cooking. If you live somewhere with real winters, frost, snow, hard freezing nights, this is your plant. It takes the cold beautifully, but it sulks in heavy humidity. Second, the French and Spanish lavenders, the Stochas types, the ones with those funny little rabbit ear petals standing up on top. They're dramatic and gorgeous, and they are tender. They hate frost. If you're somewhere warm and coastal, or you're growing in pots you can bring inside, they are spectacular. In a cold winter zone, treat them as a one-season plant at best. And third, the lavandins, the hybrids with names like Grosso and Provence. These are the big, robust workhorses you see filling the commercial fields. They handle heat, they handle a bit of humidity, they bloom huge, and they are tough as nails. For most ordinary climates, lavandin is the smartest choice for a beginner because it forgives more mistakes than any other type. So be honest about where you live. Don't grab a French lavender just because it's pretty if your winters are going to flatten it. Don't push an English lavender into hot, soupy, humid air and then wonder why it rotted. Walk into the nursery already knowing which family suits your climate, and you've done more for your odds of success than 90% of the people standing right next to you. So there you have it, 5 secrets, and now you know why lavender keeps dying on you, and exactly how to grow it so tough you could forget it existed for weeks and come back to find it blooming harder than ever. Treat it like a weed, not a pet. Build it a hillside, not a flower bed. Water it almost never, and never in winter. Prune it twice a year, but never into the wood. And plant the right variety for where you really live, not the one on the prettiest postcard. Do those 5 things, and lavender stops being the plant you can't keep alive and becomes the one you simply cannot kill. If this saved your next plant, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button, because every week we take on another plant that people swear they've got a black thumb for, and we break down the real, no-nonsense way to actually grow it. Tap the bell so the next one finds you, and leave a comment telling me which of these 5 you've been getting wrong this whole time. Until next time, get out there, get your hands dirty, and grow something that lasts.